Hey everyone, welcome back to my video series in creating Xbox 360 games in Unity. Today's lesson will be grouping prefab into game objects so we can use them later, and we'll be placing items within the scene. So let's start off from where we were before. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to place things in groups so we can easily use them at a later time. So here we have our scene, which is a nice room. So we're gonna create a game object, right click, create empty, and we're gonna call this room 01. Okay, this is gonna be one of the rooms that we'll probably use in the actual game. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna place just the room. We won't place the doors and controllers. We're not gonna use the plane. So we're gonna drag and drop all this to room. So if we go in room 1, if we set it to hide, there it is. Okay, and we also want the reflection probe in the room. In our project, we're gonna create a new folder, call it rooms. And we are gonna place that in there, so it will create a copy of that. For our player, let's rename this. Let's call this main player. And we're gonna place this in our player folder. So ignore this player selection folder for now. I'll explain how it's come to be. So now that we have everything kind of set up real nicely, we are going to create an extra room on top of this one. And being that we create our rooms prefab, we're gonna drag this over, place it in the scene. Go. Okay, you can see that this was not created properly to begin with, so we're going to do that over. So let's delete that. And we're gonna delete that prefab. gonna put this out of this subfolder right there. Delete that, and let's recreate the game object, but this time I'm gonna place it all at 0. Then we're gonna rename this rooms. Room 01. Then we can place all of this back in that game object. Alright, so that is at the right position. Alright, so let's place it in rooms. Alright, so if we go to use this room object, we don't have to worry about bringing it from somewhere else. So it falls itself under 0 y-axis. And you can further adjust right there. So this make it easier to rotate and join. Okay, so just have to line it up a little bit. And there we go. So the next thing we want to do is fix the lighting. Okay, if you notice, you have some dark areas, so the reflection is not working as how it should. So let's go into Window, Lighten, and we're gonna rebuild a reflection scene, and then you'll see the difference that it. Okay, we look to the bottom right, you see where it's redoing on the lighting. Okay, so now the scene do look more vibrant, which is what we want. Alright, so we're going to be placing a few items. So here we have our item spawn prefab. So what this prefab actually does, they have 4 spawn point for items. So let's put it in the scene. And we're going to adjust these points. Alright, let's line them up like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we'll randomly have items spawn in these points, whether it may be health, ammo, or another weapon. And you can place manual items also. So let's say this is our start room and we want to start with a particular item. So let's go here, prefab items. So we can go with, let's place some weapons. So let's place one of those. Let's put a shotgun. This one there. Let's turn the scene around. And don't think we need more weapon. Let's place ammo pack and a health. Okay. So let's start this scene and let's see what it looks like. Let's make this window bigger. So see, we have all of these. That's the regular weapon. You can choose to pick up more ammo. And you have your health pickup. So let's check in the other room and see if any weapons are spawned. Okay. You can see more ammo spawned. So if I do that, refills the ammo. And these spawn points are set for a 30-second interval, either 30 or 50, I'm not quite sure, but you can change them. And no, it doesn't always spawn ammo. You can spawn weapons and health and so forth. There you go. So when we're doing our actual level, we'll go through all the settings to change what can be spawned within a scene. And we can lock the door from out here. Okay, so we notice I'm walking through the panel, and that's one thing we're gonna fix. So let's stop our scene and let's go through a panel here. So one of the reason why the player is walking through the panel because there's no collision set for these two panel right there. So select that panel and we're gonna go to add component, physics, and we're gonna add a mesh collider. And we're gonna do the same thing for the second one, physics, mesh collider. So now if I go back into the scene, I should not be able to walk through this panel. And let's check the one outside. See, won't be able to walk through these panels. And it's a weapon or spawn. Okay. So far, we have covered rebuilding the lighting for the scene, placing weapons within the scene, fix the mesh collider for the panel. Alright. So in our next lesson, what we'll be doing, we'll be actually creating our first level for a game. So we'll be going ahead and creating our game folder. So you can see for the sandbox, these are the lighting configuration that was built for that scene. So we'll be creating another folder that will hold our game levels. And as we go along, we'll create different rooms and we'll put in our room folder. So it'll be easier to, instead of creating rooms piece by piece, so we'll just drag a room configuration onto the scene and create our level. So that will be in our video today. It's a really short one. So, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to continue to see great videos and creating games for Xbox 360.